November 15th, 2024. Last night, as I record this on the 16th, Jake Paul secured a unanimous decision victory over boxing legend Mike Tyson in an 8-round bout at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, the house where Jerry built, where the Cowboys play, all that great stuff. The fight was streamed live on Netflix and was marred by significant issues. Issue number one, the fight itself. The biggest issue, though, don't take issue number two, is the frustration fans had with the issues that Netflix had getting the fight to us in the stream. First, a summary of what happened in the events last night. The main attraction, the fourth bout in the night of 3 undercards and this big battle here. The influencer extraordinaire that people hate, that being Jake Paul, and Mike Tyson, a man who was feared by many and now loved for just being the cuddly guy he is. The former boxing champion taking off with each other or taking against each other. Going off against each other, taking each other on, those two metaphors mixed together. 31-year age difference. Paul is 27. He's in his prime. He's doing well in boxing, and if he were a full-time boxer, would probably be in that high percentage of people in the name of championship back and forth. 58-year-old Mike Tyson has not had a professional bout in 20 years, a real bout for an actual belt. He's had some exhibitions. The last one was about 4 or 5 years ago, I believe, with Roy Jones Jr. So he's been doing some fighting, but not anything that's really worth coming out the box about, getting off the couch with, going to the AT&T Stadium, and, of course, trying to watch on Netflix with millions of people around the world. We'll get to that, of course. Glimpses of prowess were showed by Mike Tyson, but obviously could not keep up with the pace. There were 8 rounds fought, 2-minute rounds instead of 3-minute rounds because Tyson is 58 years old and he wanted to have some power and strength going on with that. Jake Paul was fine. Let's do this. We got this going on. Jake Paul made his entrance in a car in the back of a convertible with his brother Logan, that guy, playing music, doing what they need to do, and wearing $1 million shorts, literally shorts that were viewed with diamonds and crystals to make them worth about $1 million worth in assets. Not sure how much of that million was left in the ring literally by falling off the pants, but you get the idea. Mike Tyson came out in a very demure, using the word that's still out there, a very kind of low-key and a very just sort of classic walking to the ring, and it was a very long walk to the ring. Problem was, I didn't see it. I didn't see many of things inside the undercards and, of course, some parts in this bout because of Netflix. Streaming issues. Literally, Mike Tyson walks out of the tunnel, and next thing I know, he's in the ring, and he's taking off his shirt, and he's getting ready to throw punches. It took Jake Paul and Logan Paul like 10 minutes to come down the aisle, and for Tyson, it probably took the same amount of time because he had to walk, and then all of a sudden it was there. But we'll get to Netflix in a moment. Let's talk about the fight. The first 2 rounds actually were essentially went to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson won the first 2 rounds, looking like Mike Tyson of old, but slower in round 1 and looking like an even slower from the round 1 to round 2. By round 3, it was obvious he didn't have the gas to go for 8 rounds and be Mike Tyson. And just like in his normal fights, if he can't punch you out in the first round or 2, round and a half, it's going to be a battle, and he has to show that he has some skills. He did. At this point in time, not so much. The younger Paul 78 of 278 punches on the night in the full competition. Mike Tyson only landed 18 punches and 18 out of 97 thrown. So you see a big difference there. The judges scored it officially 80-72, 79-73, and 79-73 in favor of Jake Paul. Now, lackluster action was one thing, but it was something that if you watch it from a standpoint of a boxing purist, I'm not quite there, but try to watch it from at that point it was okay, let's watch how the fight goes. It wasn't pretty. It was exciting up front. Jake Paul looked like he was a little scared, and Mike Tyson looked like he had a bit of something to show Jake Paul. But as time went on, youth was very much on display there. Jake Paul didn't do what he could have done to embarrass Mike Tyson, which is great. In fact, in the last 15 seconds of the match, they 15 seconds of the 8th round, when he reminded him, hey, 15 seconds ended up. That's what the ref said. They basically, did a quick, tap, hug it out, and just sort of shadow box for the last 15 seconds. It was heart-touching, but it was not a great fight by any means. At the end of the fight, when the winner was declared, of course, Jake Paul was gracious. Jake Paul, actually read the room. Jake Paul figured out what was going on. He talked about all the stuff that happened running up to it, all this, the $4 million on his chest saying, I'll give you that if you can go 4 rounds. And Mike Tyson slapping him at the weigh-in because Jake Paul may have stepped on his foot and men out. And now it's personal and all that stuff like that. Boxing hype. Paul was thrilled to be in the ring with a legend and to go toe-to-toe with him and to beat him, to get that on his resume that he won against him, despite him being 31 years older and well out of his prime. Going back into a time machine and taking on Mike Tyson, that's a whole different story. But saying he stood toe-to-toe with Mike Tyson, not too many other 27-year-olds could say that. Not too many 58-year-olds could say that. He can say that. Now, when they talk to Tyson, unfortunately, that's when we get to see, that they should have took they should have took the ball away from innings ago because his fastball was gone. He had no energy left. He could barely speak. He had no ability to do conversation. He spoke like Mike Tyson does, but the words were there, or some words were there, but not great words, not enthusiasm, not anything going forward. It was a back and forth. It was painful. The ring reporter was trying to kind of get something out of him because that's what people paid to see, paid to hear, and he couldn't. So he did what he could. So props to that guy for not embarrassing him any more than he could have. Props for him to getting Mike out of there as best as possible. But he did try to ask, he didn't say, are you too old for this? He asked, essentially, is there anything left in the tank? Any more fights? And Tyson just blankly said, I'll know tomorrow. I'll think about tomorrow. But yeah, I don't think I'm done yet. So I might have something left in it. And so we asked, well, who are you going to fight next? Because you got to do that. Tyson says, I think I'll fight Logan. To which Logan, who did not get the memo, turned into Logan Paul, who was the ass of the night. Like, hey, I'm going to kill you, Mike. I got you, Mike. And then Jake's like, dude, we're done. We're done here. So props to Jake on the night, oddly enough, and no props to Logan, which is the standard. And props to the champ, Mike Tyson, for going out there. Not so much showing us Gen Xers and old craggy folks that, there's life left in us, because this was not a great fight and this should not have happened, to be honest. But there's some good reason why it happened on the technical end. We'll get to that when we bust on Netflix in a moment. But thank you, Mike Tyson, for being Mike Tyson, going through the trials and tribulations you have gone through, getting through on the other side. Some people are still very, very angry at you, and they have their personal reasons to. But as a icon of the 80s and 90s, if you will, and someone who stands out as a big part of who Generation X is, I'm glad that you did this thing and tried to. 18 punches to Jake Paul is well more than anybody else is going to get legally. So thank you so much for all 18 of those punches. I'm sure Jake is feeling them a little bit today. Wish you got a few more. Really wish you would have knocked him out. Things happen as they do. The other sort of thing that was disappointing from the undercards, the first card was okay. The second card was a great battle, and it was a draw. And it should not. It was you can't really complain about that when it was a draw that had kept someone a championship. The third battle was a rematch, and I don't have the names of the women in front of me. A women's rematch from a few years back, which ended in a split decision where the winner was a bit controversial. This one ended in a split decision where the winner was a bit controversial. And that's the sort of same thing. But that was the best bout of the night. And I got to watch most of it because Netflix didn't scramble this one as badly. So the winner of the night is the people for getting a chance to admire this spectacle. The winner of the night, Jake Paul, getting the big win. The winner of the night, Mike Tyson, showing that he could survive this actual bout. And his next thing coming forward is coming. Somebody's going to throw some money and some adventures at him anytime soon. The losers, the people. Yeah, we're winners, but we're also losers because the ultimate loser is Netflix. So let's tear them a new one real quick. Their first venture into live sports, if you don't count the hot dog eating contest between Chestnut and Kobayashi, I counted it because I was thinking forward to, hey, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are coming, and WWE Raw is coming, and of course the Christmas Day game they have. They're all screwed because the first venture into live sports broadcasting had significant challenges, and that's being extremely light, very easy on the effort that they put out there. The platform experienced widespread technical difficulties, buffering, freezing, service outages, and many, many little GIFs and many, many little clips and many, many JPEGs of people on social media being asked by Netflix to check their Wi-Fi, in which most of them replied, No, you and Jerry Jones back at AT&T Stadium. You check your Wi-Fi, Netflix. You are messing this thing up. About 12,000 users in the U.S. alone actually reported it. Those were people that actually said something to Netflix or an email address or a phone number that popped up, not just people complaining on the X. Meanwhile, remember, this is a worldwide show. This thing going worldwide, and it's a test of Netflix's ability to stream one service to everyone out there. So before they take on the Super Bowl and have the world watch it live on their streaming platform, it's going to be an issue. Social media is dealing with one thing, but guess what's going to be really big on Monday morning? Shareholders. As many people online were complaining about wanting refunds for the fight, at least for, a day or so, get some money back, as Netflix, of course, is expanding its offerings with making you pay more money or buying a new advertising tier and trying a bit more stuff out there. So many people on the X saying, I'm selling my Netflix now. It's going to be interesting come Monday morning with the CEO dealing with this one right here. The frustration on the part of many for the poor streaming quality, and I'm sure it's going to be terrible customer service in the background. What happened is going to be difficult. I hate to be a worker at Netflix tomorrow because it's going to be terrible. Not official release as of this part. I just did not see anything when I went scouring to do this video here on Saturday. But come Monday, it will not be all right for Netflix and the shareholders there out there. So what do you think about the topic? We don't really have a good chance to talk about stories in the weekend live unless you bust in with something like this. And this is a bit longer than I usually do. It usually be like a short hot take thing, but this was a big deal. This is a generational event where a lot of people were into it. I had a friend on X who was talking about how the fact it brought together her and her husband, who are in their lower 50s, and their 18-year-old teenage son, who's learning a lot of things in ways. He voted this year the first time. He's seeing things from different effort. He's going to college next year, and it brought them together. The household is complete, and they're all going for Tyson because their teenage son has taste. My daughter has taste and wanted Jake Paul beat up too because Jake and Logan Paul are bad people. Her words, not mine. Thank you, JJ, for that one. Didn't quite happen the way we wanted it to, but it happened, and there's something to learn from and live from all of it. So what do you think about Mr. Paul, Mr. Tyson, and their performance last night, or any other performances on the undercard, if you were lucky enough to see them because Netflix was actually working at the time? Or do you want to bash on Netflix? Because a lot of people want to bash on Netflix. Comment in the video comments and let us know what you think about this one, or me if you want to. My presentation, my presentations, how we do this stuff, and general conversation project stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed this thing here. If you did, like it, share it to some other folks who like the commentary, and subscribe to get more of it if we're just popping in your feed or being shared to you. Follow us on our feeds on Facebook, on X, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Although we haven't quite automated yet, we'll put some things on Blue Sky there as well so you can get a chance to see what you can see about what's going on. Let us know how we're doing. Email us at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Anytime you need a friend, we'll chat you up. Anytime you just want to bash on somebody because makes you feel better, that's that. As I said, 18 punches went to Jake Paul from the hands of Mike Tyson. Thank you, Mike Tyson, for your service. We'll see more of you in more videos coming soon.